We're going live now, just to let you know before we continue on with this conversation around the word fuck and saying it publicly, which I'm sure just went on my live stream of me saying that right. It certainly did. And that's how it started. We started with the word that we were going to be cautious about speaking about, which was the word fuck. So,
I,
everyone, Eliza Kate Bingham is here, and I'm introducing to you today my client, Amber Jade. And I'm going to take you through some of our journey together. Well, we're going to take you through our journey together. And yeah, we've achieved some really crazy, cool, and amazing, incredible things, not just in her business, but also in her life. And yeah, without further ado, welcome, Amber.
hi.
Hey. And Amber, tell me what you do.
I run a women's gym in regional Victoria. I run an online coaching, which is called Invoke Your Lioness. And I also do social media management, which is called Take Back Your Time.
Yes, love it. But it wasn't always that way when I met you, was it?
No.
All right. Awesome. Cool. So let's take a little bit of a trip down, what is it? A trip down memory lane.
Mhm.
Remember that. That's actually one of my coaching topics, a trip down memory lane. Because it's so important, right, to remember where it is that you started, where it is that you come from, because quite often we forget and we're always focused on where it is that we're going, and where it is that we're not, right? So reflection's like one of the huge things, right? Okay, so if we were looking back, let's talk about like where you were when we met.
Mhm.
And we can go back to the first time we met before the time that we met.
Yeah. So when I first reached out to Eliza, I wasn't ready. I had a lot of blockages and I knew that I needed some clarity and coaching. However, at that point in time, I wasn't ready. But then, fast forward a few months, um, a lot of things had happened in my personal life. So I separated from my husband, I had full custody of my kids. COVID had hit, my business was basically demolished. And I just needed somebody to help me get out of the cloud.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that you say that you weren't ready, but I know that definitely from that first conversation that we had, there was a lot that you took from it that took time for you to digest. So things were like simmering then, and you kind of knew, but you were in this space of, everything was sort of happening. And then
Yeah,
once it all happened, you're just like, yep, yo, I'm ready. Like, I am ready. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Cool. So that was like a lot of things going on at once for you, right? So when you what would you say it is that you wanted most then for yourself? Like, did you have an idea of what it was that you wanted, or was it just that you knew that you needed to get out of that shithole of
I
a
knew that I
cloud?
could get out of it.
Yeah.
I just needed some guidance, I suppose. So I, as a coach myself, I'm very good at helping other people. But when it came to myself, I had my own barriers that needed to be broken down and have breakthroughs. I knew what was on the other side, but for myself, there was so much shit in front of me that I just couldn't break through it.
Yeah. And therein lies the whole entire, like the whole intention or the purpose of having a coach, right? Because you
Yeah.
can't actually see outside your own emotional cloud. We'll call it an emotional cloud,
Yeah.
right? Like you're in it, you can't see out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like just a bit of a side thing, like how powerful has your journey been for the clients that you work with?
Exactly. Like huge. I'm a completely different person. Oh no, like I'm more me. I'm completely authentically me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if we, and how does you being authentically you, like how did that then impact or transform your business?
The energy, I suppose, that comes out of me also flows into other people. My clients know that they can be themselves, and that then they can start to realize that it's okay to push past these barriers and continue to break through. You don't just have to stay stuck where you are. If you know that you know what's on the other side, but you're not sure how to get there, I try to live by example in everything that I do. And yeah, I suppose just me being me and being, like, honestly completely happy is amplified.
100%. That literally is the ingredient, right? It's like you're happy. How can you show up authentically and run a business the way that you want to do it if you're not in tune with you, if you're not happy with what you're doing and you're running it the way that you want to? And the same goes for your life, relationships, the whole works, right? And we work through each of those areas with you, which is like phenomenal. For those of you who are watching, like, we worked together for, well, on and off before we did the entire 12 months. Yeah, that's the beauty of actually doing the long-term coaching, is that you can dive into so much more than just the one thing. So what would you say are like the three things that you struggle with the most?
That we worked on clearing.
Yeah, or well, anything really.
Well, the three main things were, I suppose, I had a lot of past trauma. Some things that I didn't realize were still affecting me in my day-to-day. I've had major trust issues, and that was my word of the year, is to work on trust. And I suppose trying to not control, or just know that and understand my self-talk.
Yeah. And can you give us a bit of a comparison to like what it used to be like compared to how it is now?
Yeah. So I suppose in regards to past trauma, I had let subconsciously that had held me back, and now it's gone. So, which is amazing. In regards to trust, I've come tenfold. So I don't worry about another being or another something happening, because I trust in the universe, trust in myself. Trust has probably been my biggest transformation, because all my trust had been broken.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's much better now. And in regards to, like, I just don't even think the same way as I used to. So, all that, not that it was negative self-talk, but it was, I suppose, self-talk that held me back. Is that anymore?
Yeah. And and like you were met with so many like experiences throughout that year that really did put you in spaces where you needed to really be able to trust yourself. And your ability to move through that just got faster and faster and more efficient and more quicker. And before you know it, you're like, oh, yep, over that, onto this, over that, onto this, done with that, now this. So the movement we had way more momentum.
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of, like, three challenges that you faced.
Three challenges.
The struggle. Sorry, I'm not even
Well,
questionnaire.
that would be.
I'm not going according to plan. I like
work again. That's been my biggest challenge, is learning to trust people again, trusting myself, understanding that if somebody breaks my trust, it's their problem, not mine. They have their own shit that they have to deal with, for whether they haven't been true to their word, or that's not on me. So that's been a major thing for me. Shadow work, that is fascinating for me.
Yeah.
Another challenge. Not sure of the third one.
That's all right. We already covered some in the lead
Yeah.
up, right? Let's talk about shadow work for a second, because shadow work, me the same, right? I love shadow work, right? What's your favorite thing about shadow work? Because I know when we first did some shadow sessions, beautiful Amber, you're like trying to, and I was the same, I was the same. So I'd like consciously try and work it out. And I'm like, okay, so, and this came before we worked on trust, right? Trust in yourself. So it's like, oh, okay, so if I can figure out how this person, like what that means for me, and then that what would mean for them, then I will be able to that.
Which makes no sense to anyone that has no idea what.
Right? So let's talk about it. What is shadow work in your eyes?
Almost your self-reflection.
Yep. Awesome,
So,
right? So for those, pardon?
Oh, no, you go.
No, go for it. You got the floor, girlfriend.
No. Say for me, I'll never forget my first moment of going, oh, fuck, that's shadow work. That's what it was.
Okay, let's share that.
I had started to see someone, and there were certain, let's say, behaviors or patterns that were happening. And I was like, why is this always happening? What's going on? And then I remember being in my bathroom, and I just looked at myself in the mirror. I went, I'm doing that. It was me. And that's how it appears in your life.
Yeah. So for those of you who are watching, right, like when you can identify something within somebody else, like how do you know what that is? Like how can you describe that? Like how do you know that? And you're talking about it from your experience, from what you know. So when we are identifying something within somebody else, and especially in particular when we are judging somebody for something else, right? Or something that they're this and they do that and they do that, it's so much easier to point your finger outwards. But if it didn't bother you, like, why would it even be a thing? Like, if it didn't bother you, why would you be talking about it? Right? So when there's something about someone else that we're judging or something that we notice and it's having an impact on us, it's always, as much as we would like to, it is totally not me. Like, no fucking way. Like, nah. It's them. Yeah. So it's always an invitation to go inwards of something that you're either suppressing yourself or you're not owning, something you're not willing to look at. And then these in turn become a block. Because you are all things, right? We're not just one thing. We can be all of the things. And it's important to understand that, right? And when we heal those wounds, so to speak, you can really integrate that and move forward because you'll have empathy and compassion for the other person, on why they are, where they're at, and what's happening. And it's also super vital experience to have when you're a coach, to really understand or learn and know, or to have gone through it yourself, shadow work. And I know this is like so transformational for you in so many areas of your life, Amber. Like it was just, and when you are the coach watching the client, you can see it, and they're like, okay, I get the message. I get the thing. I get what I needed from that, and it becomes a learning, healing experience for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we could talk about shadow work today. Anyway, we're talking about
amazing.
Amber. I'm like going on a tangent there. So all right, let's talk about the magic that you created from getting out of your own way. So let's go all through all the amazing, cool things created.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Me. That is my magic. I'm my magic. No one else is my magic. I'm my magic. My life is my magic.
Yeah. And let's just like feel that for a second, because I'm feeling that all the way through my body. Such a powerful answer. I love that. And through the magic of you, what things in your life has transformed?
Everything, everything. My outlook, my perception, my business, my children, my relationships, my communication. As I said earlier, I just feel so authentically me that there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Do you remember? I just had this like flashback memory with minimal detail. We no, there is no territory uncharted when you
Oh,
go to with me at all. There is nothing that is to be left off the table, right? You come as you are with whatever that looks like, right? And the more, for those of you watching as well, like the more shit that you have, like the more things that you've got holding you back, like the more mess that you feel like you're in, when you're in a safe environment where you have somebody that you can just like air it out, like get your tits out, like doesn't matter.
done that.
um, you know, it there's just this like this is me, this is what's going on, and I don't like, let's go, let's look at it. But I remember one of the first sessions that we had, and I was in the car, and we had a quick call because it was, and I can't quite remember the details, but I know that you like filled something with like 10 spots, and it was like in a matter of, you just had this
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, like, pleasurable experience for yourself. And yeah, you left me a voice memo, I think, and then I called you, and yeah, can you remember what it is?
Yeah, it was my online coaching. So the
Yeah.
Invoke Your
And you
Lioness
hit 10 spots in like,
within.
yeah. And
Yep.
you're just like, more of this, like, what is happening? What is going on? I'll never
Yep.
ever forget that moment. And it was really life transformative because
Yep.
you hit a block, and all of a sudden the things that
Mm-hmm.
you wanted just flowed in for you,
Yep.
right? That's the kind of magic Amber holds within herself. Um, awesome. So, what are 3 lessons that you have learned that you absolutely must share with the people that are listening and watching?
One would be to invest in yourself. So I know a lot of people may be hesitant in investing in themselves, but once you invest in yourself, I can't explain how much your life is just completely and utterly transformed. Trust, again, my key word.
Yeah.
The ability to trust after, I suppose, having completely no trust in anyone, and trust in myself more so, and trust in my own intuition and my own life, that is pivotal in my transformation.
Yeah.
And third, I always get stuck on the third. Third would be to, I keep going back to trust in my head. So
Yeah.
powerful.
Well, stick with 2, right? If there's just 2 lessons, there's 2 lessons. So, and I guess I wouldn't mind touching on, like, what does it look like? Let's talk about this, because this is, trust is such an important part in what we do as a person, in our life, in relationships, and also, in your business. Different ways that not trusting can impact people.
Holds you back everything.
Yeah. And so,
If you don't,
yeah, sorry, go.
yeah, I was just going to say, if you don't trust or have trust, that's where self-doubt and the negative connotations start in your head. When I worked with Eliza, I cleared so much debris from my life, from being raped to my marriage ending to eating disorder to my best friend committing suicide. So, having so many foundations, I suppose, broken earlier in my lifetime, I didn't realize how much trust had been, or the lack of trust was holding me back.
Yeah. And having put that trust in other people above your own self.
Yeah.
So then when it is broken, it is no wonder that you do feel broken, or you do feel like you've collapsed in a heap, because you've given so much to people, or you've given it so much outwards without really having had that built up within to begin with. Yeah. And what happens then is, if you don't feel like you have the power, we start to sabotage ourselves in different ways, right? And we start to gain control, or try and take control or get control, by controlling outside of us, without recognizing that we've got no control over outside of us. And really the place to build that is within yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know for myself, that's been pretty much actually every woman that I've ever worked with needs to and address the ability to trust themselves and their intuition as well, and what is actually right for you, irrespective of what anybody else thinks, or what anybody else, whatever it is outside that's coming at you. It's about coming inwards. Yeah. That's awesome. That's beautiful. And I love that your word trust has just been, it's been rippled throughout your entire year. And it's been such a fundamental, we ask for it. Yeah. At the start, it was trust. And it was about just the word trust and wanting trust. And then walking out the other side, actually embodying trust.
Yeah.
It's such a huge thing, right? It's we can identify we want something, we know that we want something, and then we ask for it. And then what happens is we've got these challenges that come along the way that's oh yeah, you remember that you were cultivating trust this year? Shit, okay, cool. What do I need to do now to embody trust, to really lean into this? Yeah. So, all right, last question. What words of advice do you have for somebody who's listening that is in a similar place to you, where they're in an emotional shit heap and lots of things are going on, they kind of don't know where to start, and they really do want to change their lives?
Okay. Just do it. Don't hesitate. Invest in yourself. It's worth everything. It's literally changed my life, and there have been tears, smiles, laughter, dancing, showing each other our boobies. Us. Don't hold yourself back. Just don't do it. And now I'm also studying crystal therapy, so don't hold yourself back. Experience your own metamorphosis, because that is literally what I have.
Yeah.
I trusted in Eliza, and I trusted in the process, and I trusted in myself. I invested in myself and trusted that I needed that extra guidance. And my life has literally transformed in every which way you can ever imagine. And so I just say, fucking sign up. Because I love it.
I'm getting emotional listening.
I know.
Me and Amber have had many emotional moments, but it's such a, I feel so honored to sit here and hear you speak of this, see you and in your energy, because, we've been there through the ride. We can't possibly tell,
no,
we're giving you a short version of like what happened, like what went throughout those times, but like nothing will ever fully describe it. Like, you know, and it's so individual and deep and personal to the person that you work with. Um, and I do want to ask one more question actually, because I feel like everyone watching this, it'll be super important. But like, so when we worked together, right, you were attracted to me and you felt like I was a safe space
Yeah.
um, to come to with your stuff, right? So,
Mhm.
what advice would you have for people who are listening and watching that they want to and they're not sure, I guess, what to look for in a coach? Like, what would be some of your, and obviously not particular to
Yep.
me, but just in general, what would be something that a piece of advice that you could give to somebody who was looking to work with someone?
Trust your intuition, because you know straight away if somebody's right or wrong for you
Yeah.
to help you align. Um,
And what does, like, if somebody doesn't know too much about their intuition or
yeah,
trusting that, like, what kind of, what would be the feeling?
the gut. Trust your gut. So we all know that, you know, like when you're in that situation and you're talking to somebody and you go, oh, really got nothing to say, or I don't connect with you, don't resonate. If you start to resonate with somebody and, you know, I don't know, it could be that you're quirky and you think, oh, she's pretty funny too. Those sorts of things. You just have to, that feeling, believe in what you're feeling
Yeah.
and make sure that you align somewhat with who you're going to work with. So there's no point in signing up to somebody that, let's just say it's a body transformation that's going to just drill you hammer and tong, tell you to eat this, and this, train this, and this. If they don't tap into what actually is going on within your life, why you eat in a certain way, why you don't like to exercise, what's holding you back, your mindset and everything like that, it doesn't work. It might work for 6 weeks or whatever, but then because you haven't tapped into what's actually really going on underneath or inside, it doesn't last.
Yeah. And that's really like the key, especially in, you know, I'm a personal training background as well. Like, you know, that's the key to a really good coach is actually looking beyond what is on the surface
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that as well, just doing some research, having a phone call with the person, watching some of their videos, reading some of their content. If you have questions, just asking the questions. I feel like that's really important as well, right? If you are looking to work
Yeah.
with somebody, you want to know that when you go there, you feel like you can just, like I said
Yeah.
earlier, let it all hang out. Yeah. Awesome. So thank you so much, Amber.
No, thank you.
This has been fun. All right. So thank you everyone for watching. Give a shout out to Amber, and I'll pop some of her details in the actual description after the video so that you can go check her out too if you would like. And I'll see you soon for another interview. And Amber, I'll chat to you soon.
Can I say,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't convey how at rock bottom I was before I started working with Eliza. So, and now I'm getting emotional. I was so very broken, and step by step, you put yourself back together, and yeah, it's, you just got to do it because you're responsible for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thanks.
You're gonna get my emotions moving too. This happened the last session. We're both of
Yeah.
us crying.
Oh my.
Crying.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful feeling, right? Because it's something that you hadn't experienced before, in the way that you experience it now.
Yeah.
So thank you. That
You
means a
know.
lot. All right, my love.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon. Love you
Thank you.
lots, and thank you everyone for watching. Bye. Bye.
Bye.